two more to go. Color and clarity. Okay. Now, when you go to the market and when you speak to diamond dealers, you will find that more emphasis is placed on clarity and color than on cut. Yeah, most of the time they're not even speaking about how good or bad diamond is for the cut. They're only speaking about clarity. What is the reason there?
Clarity is good, the shine becomes good.
It's not actually.
Color is white also. This thing.
It's not related. The color won't affect the luster, and also the class. Most of the flaws don't affect the luster of the diamond.
Brilliance doesn't even.
No, it's not like that.
I think it's more of a psychological thing with people. They want to
Yeah.
pierce too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for some astrological reasons, like a lot of people, in India, like they believe a lot कि भाई साफ हो नहीं तो. It is
Right.
not considered to be good to wear a stone with any inclusions and all. From astrological point of view.
Astrologically, very true. For example, they wouldn't wear flaws with garnet inclusions or red inclusions because it's not astrologically right.
Probably there's only a few kinds of cuts that are available यहाँ पे.
Yeah. But also, all of these table size and BDP and the make factors, all of these that you did were never discussed. Except for sometimes the table size and maybe the PDP if it's really shallow or really it's a bullseye. Otherwise, they never come into the picture. But then they really influence diamond value to a much greater extent than color and clarity. The reason why most diamond dealers don't speak about cut is that because they're themselves not aware about the intricacies of cut. They've learned diamonds the traditional way. I told you about how they buy and sell diamonds, right? Like fruits and vegetables, when quality is approximated rather than accurately measured. So they've learned it the traditional way. And can they make do with the traditional way? Yes, of course. They are making money the traditional way. They don't even need to touch on the cut. And they're buying diamonds. How do they buy diamonds when they don't have the answer to the cut? How are they when they're not giving a specific grade? For example, most diamond dealers don't know what the grade is for color or what the grade is for clarity. But they are still buying and selling diamonds. How do you suppose they are doing it?
So, I think
एक तो आपका कलर देख के,
Right?
और एक मीन्स ये इसका भाव 10 है बस.
हाँ.
और
Just like we were just discussing it outside class. Just like you buy tomatoes in the market when you know the current trends, and the guys who are retailers who are selling to you know what to buy it at wholesale. When the transport cost goes up, the wholesale cost goes up, and consequently the whole of the market is selling at a higher price. Yeah, that's how it happens with diamonds. When DBS raises the price of its rough, yeah, and the manufacturers therefore increase the price of the polished, the wholesalers sell higher to the retailers or jewelers, and the jewelers sell higher to you. So everything goes up. Everybody knows that diamond prices have gone up. That is how it's done in the market. No two diamond dealers give the same value. It's because there's a profit margin involved, and if you desperately want to sell, you sell at a lower cost than your competitors. Yeah, and it comes down to bargaining skills for both parties. How well the client is able to bargain with the supplier. It's really just that. And diamonds are bought. It takes sometimes they haggle over a piece of diamond for 3 or 4 days, maybe even a week, just to prolong the sale and see how much I can extract out of the opposite party. It's like that. But if they would be following the technical way, it wouldn't take them more than 5 minutes to buy that. Once they grade, it takes 5 minutes to value.
But sir, then commercially, the cut really doesn't.
It does. They're just not aware. They've never been into the study of cut.
For a layman, or even for a jeweler, supposing today I want to start with a
Right.
jewelry business,
Right.
then even I would probably just buy, or even people who are just coming to me would just see thoda bahut and take it.
What would happen is that you would be somebody who's not got 3 generations of experience. You've not had your father teach you, and you've not been attending office as an intern for 3 years and then buying and selling with your father or with your elder brother or with your uncle or grandfather for the next 7 years. So you don't have that work experience. These people are, my father for example, learnt from his father, and my grandfather learnt from his father, right? And they all learnt the traditional way. Now they are successful at the business. Anybody who is doing it the traditional way is earning dollops of money. So it's not to say that we are not going to. When we have this advantage today, that we don't need to spend 10 years learning the trade, or learning on the job, we can do it on a fast track manner. Do some technical study, do some work experience. Maybe in a year's time we are saving on those 8-9 years there because of this technical study.
So like what I meant was, supposing today I'm starting with some jewelry thing. Now if I'm buying solitaire, obviously I'm really going to look into each and every factor. But now supposing if I'm making a set which has a lot of diamonds in it, small diamonds.
Right.
So
then you're not looking at individual factors. No. Only when you are looking at 50 cent up diamonds, do you actually need to study the cut intricately like that, because the individual stone prices are going to be hugely influenced by the cut. When it comes to the smaller diamonds, the general route we diamond dealers take is to assume the worst. When I buy smaller diamonds, I don't look for the cut. I assume it's bad. For example, if I'm buying 1 cent diamonds, I assume it's bad and I buy. So I'm never the loser.
The person who buys from me is like...
No, he wouldn't be the loser again. He wouldn't be, because you've bought it, and if you keep a principal margin of profit, then he also is the winner there. Nobody is a loser. Right. छोटे डायमंड्स के अंदर में वही देखा जाता है. And
so why? Like, are they actually looking into all the diamonds that they are putting in the basic qualities?
There are, for example, yeah, stars.
Show you the color that ये white है, ये yellow है, ये white है, ये yellow है. Nothing else you can understand with the naked eye.
Again, true. And you cannot spend so much time looking over thousands of stones like that. So you assume the worst. There are, however, markets where, for example, when we talk about stars, if stars, what we call super deluxe here, is selling at around 16,000, there are markets where stars are going for 24,000. What is the difference there? Here you have flawless or internal flawless category and very good DF color. That's the best color here for that price. Then why are the costs higher there in those markets?
Super quality.
Yeah, that's only because of the cut. That's only because of the quality of faceting that's been put on those stones, for which there is no market in India. So you wouldn't buy stars in India for 24,000 rupees a carat. So they all go to Europe or to Hong Kong, or they're not going to the US, because again the US market is like India, where very few people are really, they would want big sizes, they would want good looking pieces, good looking to the naked eyes, not under 10x maybe. If you do that directly, it takes you more time, because you're not acquainted with the various types of flaws, and you wouldn't know immediately a lot of times that this piece is better than the other piece. If you do therefore it takes around, if somebody is to learn the traditional way, it takes around 3 years in diamond offices just to learn diamond clarity, to sort out from 10 to 1, from best to worst. If you do the technical way, in 1.5 hours today, at the end of the class, you are able to say that this diamond is better than the other diamond. That's how it saves you that time. Then it's more of practice, definitely. Picking up, when you have to see 1,000 diamonds in a day, you need to have that speed, you need to have that concept, you need to have that staying power. That internship needs to be given, but not the technical aspect. You don't need to spend time on learning the technical aspect of things. Okay?
तो एक लोग का उल्टा से ही उसको देखा और रख दिया.
हाँ, वो भी होता है, वो तुम भी करेगा. Okay. So let's talk about clarity. Clarity, in spite of all the fad that's made about clarity being one of the most important C, it's really easy to learn. It's really easy to learn. How would you define clarity? What is clarity?
Diamonds can be
Absolutely. When something has no flaws, it's clear. Yeah? It's a flawless stone. So that is clarity. The presence or absence of flaws in or on the diamond. We learned how there may be flaws inside or there may be flaws on the surface. Yeah. So you can write this down. Clarity can be defined as the presence or absence of flaws in or on the diamond. So then what is clarity? When you saw these diamonds, when you were seeing these RBCs for cut, anything other than what you saw for cut, did you see anything other than what you were supposed to see all this while? Yeah? What did you see?
Black spots.
Black spots,
There's a lot of inclusions.
Feathery inclusions.
feathers,
Chipped kind of
chips,
stone.
scratches,
cloud-like
clouds. So all of these things that you saw that you're not supposed to be seeing, all that is clarity. So anything other than what we are supposed to see for the cut of a diamond, yeah, and can be seen in the diamond, is the clarity of the diamond. Right? That's a clarity flaw. So a clarity flaw is anything other than what we are supposed to see with regard to the cut of the diamond, and which can be seen under 10x. Now there are two types of flaws, one's on the surface and one's inside. So types of flaws. First, blemishes. What are blemishes? Okay, blemishes and inclusions, two types, right? Blemishes are on the surface, so they are easily removable because you can just repolish it against the scaf, and they don't involve loss of weight, like too much weight. Blemishes are clarity characteristics contained on the surface of the diamond.
Blemishes are clarity.
Characteristics contained on the surface of the diamond. They are easily removable by repolishing with loss of minimal weight. Inclusions. Next, the second type.
So that means most of the diamonds that we see don't have blemishes, they have inclusions. Because
Inclusions are flaws contained inside the body of the diamond. They are usually not removable. Why do I add usually there? Extra facets के द्वारा.
एक्स्ट्रा फैसेट के या गर्डल में रहे.
Right. They are usually not removable except sometimes via extra facets. Sometimes via extra facets. ठीक है. Inclusions are also called intrusions, meaning the same. Some people call it inclusions. Intrusions, INTRUSIONS. TRU
Elena generally says it.
SIONS. Yeah.
Diamond dealer generally talks of it.
Inclusions, right.
So बांग्ला में इसको जीरन बोलता है.
It's what a jiram is. We'll talk about it.
The market term students, sir.
Jiram is a market term for one type of flaw. We'll talk about that. Okay, now let's talk about the various types of blemishes that you can find on a diamond. Yeah, on and in, two different terms. In is always an inclusion, on is always a blemish, right?
So there are only blemishes and
Two types. Now within blemishes, on page 8, you can see listing of types of blemishes.
Natural, nick, bit, scratch. Which is on, sir.
Right. Now, what is a natural? We all know. We all did a natural, right? When we did make a natural on the girdle, I said always under make. And if you have a natural on the crown or pavilion,
Which can be removed.
which can be removed, it is always under blemish. Right. Next.
Nick.
Okay. Sometimes when you see two sides of a facet joining together or coming together, they should meet at a pinpoint. But if it's bigger than a pinpoint, if it's looking like there's a notch there, a gant there, then you call it a nick. That's again removable. You can fine tune it. You can, work on it till you have a pinpoint there.
you filed it.
Yeah, file it slightly more. Absolutely. So then that's a nick.
Bit.
Just like human bodies have pores on their body, yeah, which we see as these brown spots, and diamonds also have pores on their body, but these pores are not visible under 10x.
Right, sir.
Yeah, they're only visible under higher magnification, and they would look like white spots, very minute white spots throughout the body of the diamond. But because they're not visible under 10x, unless it's a 100-carat diamond, maybe. So then we forget about it. It's only theory.
We find it in about 50 cents or in
No, you wouldn't. No, unless it's a huge diamond,
about
maybe around 35-40 carats, maybe even bigger.
scratch.
A scratch is what is actually in Europe called a giram. There's this term which is used in the market called giram, G-E-R-U-M-E, very often referred to mean any crack in the diamond. But that's not true. Any crack in the diamond, anything that's in the diamond is not a giram. Giram is the European term for scratch. And a scratch is this. It's only on the surface. It's not a cut. It's not a crack. It's not inside the diamond. It's only on the surface. So what we understand by giram is not actually giram. Diamond dealers use this term, it's not got any blacks, just got a giram. Just got a giram. Meaning to say that it's got a very minor thing. And whereas actually they may be meaning there's a big crack in the diamond, just saying that there's just a giram.
So आज तक हम जानते थे जीरम डायमंड के भीतर ही था.
Right. So which is how they can probably take a higher margin from their clients. Yeah. And clients also are under the impression that a giram is just a giram. Okay. They don't know exactly what it is, but they just heard that giram is okay. It's takeable. Technically, if it's a scratch, it's a giram. Otherwise, no. Okay? So that's the type of blemishes. There are only 4 types of blemishes that you can see on the diamond. No more. Anything else on the diamond is just sticking to it. It can be removed. It's not come with the diamond. Okay? Let's do inclusions. What if a scratch is inside, or what if you get a crack, or what if it's wholly contained inside? You see those crystal pieces sometimes they have a crack inside, not maybe on the outside, but you can still see the inside crack. You can see through the surface. So a feather need not be starting from the surface and going inside. It could be wholly contained inside. A feather need not start from the surface. It could be wholly contained inside. Anything that's inside is a feather. Any crack that's inside is a feather. Okay? Then
Beard and girdle.
bearded girdle. Now we know that the girdle is easy to chip. Sometimes it's not chipping. It's not chipping. It's in an earlier stage where you just have these tiny root-like things coming into the girdle. It's not actually breaking, just those cracks coming in from the girdle. Then this is called a bearded girdle. It's actually tiny feathers coming into the diamond from the girdle. You can take this diagram there itself.
And why is this so?
Because the girdle is so thin. What's next?
Chip. Oh, sorry, bruise.
Bruise. Bruise is like a black belt champion coming and smashing this wall, taking off the plaster, breaking some bricks. That's like a bruise. A child coming in and putting a hand on the cake and taking away the centerpiece. Yeah, that's a bruise. When it gives you a smashed effect, when it looks like somebody smashed this piece of glass right at the center, it's just caved in. It just caved in. That's a bruise. You get that effect?
Like when you break a glass.
Yeah, when you break it like that with a stone, absolutely.
Cracks.
Right. And it's broken deep down. It's broken from the surface, breaking, going down. So that's what a bruise is. A smashed effect.
वो डायमंड तो बाजार में आता है क्या नहीं? आता है.
What's next? Sometimes if it's on the pavilion, it's not seen on the crown. If it's somebody's broken it from the pavilion, it's not reached the surface of the crown, and these people want a very low priced diamond and they still want the big look, so then they could take it. At least the crown looks right and nobody is using an eyeglass there.
So will it look like abrasion?
It wouldn't, or to the naked eyes maybe it won't be visible in small stones. In the larger stones maybe yes, but then still okay. They have a budget toy. Chip is actual breaking, where an adult will, if he has to take a piece out of a cake, he'll do it from this side. Yeah, if I were to take a piece from a birthday cake before the cake is cut, then I would do it from the side. ठीक है? That's again because the girdle is easy to break.
पेविलियन में भी हो सकता है.
कहीं पर भी हो सकता है. On the starting from the girdle, it could be, it's actually chunk out, so it's both crown and pavilion out mostly. Sometimes it could be just a top, ऊपर से निकला या नीचे से छिलका निकला, वैसे भी हो सकता है. Right.
So, but it has got to be near the girdle.
Absolutely, starting from the girdle. हाँ.
नीचे नहीं रहता क्या? Point.
क्यूलेट पे जो डैमेज रहता है उसको अपने लोग एक्चुअली ऑलरेडी क्यूलेट अब्रेशन में कर रहे हैं. व्हेन वी से दैट द क्यूलेट इज होली अब्रेडेड.
Yeah, that is what I wanted to understand.
Yeah.
वो abrasions क्या है?
वो भी चिप ही है. That's also a chip. Why are we putting it under make? Why are we putting it under make? Because we don't want to really be too harsh on the clarity of the diamond. We are diamond dealers wanting to sell the diamond. These rules are framed by diamond dealers wanting to sell diamonds.
So sometimes वो जो pointed जो फिल्ड में रहता है वो फ्लैट रहता है. वो तो चिप अंडर में आ सकता है.
Flat रहता है मतलब अगर plain नहीं. You mean that you see a white thing there? That's chipped. Now, but don't call that chip a chip unless it's otherwise a flawless diamond. The only time, now this is a trade secret, but the only time that a chipped culet comes under clarity, that chip comes here, is when there is no other flaw. You cannot call it a flawless diamond with an abraded culet. You cannot have a flawless diamond that has an abraded culet. You get what I mean?
If all the things are like
If
it's
it has got,
completely
yeah, then you cannot
flawless,
call it, then you must not put that under culet size, that abrasion. Then you must put it under chip. If this diamond has a black spot and it has a culet abrasion here, you put this under make. And you just count for, the clarity will only be influenced by this black spot. But if there's nothing in the diamond except this, then this is not considered under make. Then under culet size you don't write that. Then it comes here as a flaw under clarity. So the only time that a chipped culet comes into clarity is when you have an otherwise flawless diamond.
So, sir, then why don't we just cut that for
Yeah. Once it's done, it's okay. It's again a flawless diamond. Again, it's a flawless diamond. But as long as it is there, it's not flawless. Yes, definitely. फेदर जो भी स्क्रैच, ये स्क्रैच है अभी तो ये है, और वही कट जाएगा, खून निकल जाएगा तो क्या होगा? फेदर हो जाएगा. जो चीज अंदर है वो फेदर है, जो सरफेस पे है वो स्क्रैच है. राइट. व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट?
अगर ये चिपिंग अपना ये कोई दो फेसेट्स का
कहीं पर भी हो, उससे कोई अंतर नहीं पड़ता है.
सब चिप्स के अंदर
Chip is chip, yeah. Cloud. Now you talked about cloud. Now sometimes what is a cloud?
cavity which does
Okay, first cavity first. What is a cavity?
that is a gap basically.
Cavity is a gap. It looks like it's a chunk out of the diamond. There it was a bruise. What is the difference between bruise and a cavity? Bruise, that smashing, broken effect. Here, there's a yawning hole. Here, there's a yawning hole right in the, on anywhere in the diamond. Somebody's taken a piece out of the diamond. It's not there anymore. That's a cavity.
But how did that come?
Naturally, from birth. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
तो वो जो बबल्स अंदर में रहता है वो
क्या बबल्स?
जैसे डायमंड में क्या बबल्स जैसा दिखता है?
डायमंड में कभी भी गैस बबल्स नहीं होते.
So, but sometimes
What looks like, even maybe looks like the outline of a bubble, is not actually an outline of a bubble. Just that outline. Just that outline, maybe with carbon outline or with black, and because you see the edge is a very fine edge, then you think it's a bubble. It's not a bubble.
so sometimes marble में जो टाइप का फ्लो टाइप रहता है वो डायमंड में तो दिखाई देता है.
मार्बल के अंदर में जो क्रैक्स रहते हैं, वेन्स रहती हैं.
Not veins. It means slightly
Mica?
white color.
Mica? Mother, you mean the sparkling white things? Yeah, actually you're seeing those white spots sometimes in diamond, small feathers like white spots. But there are no other things possible in a diamond except black flaws, red flaws and cracks. No foreign. If you're talking about foreign substances, only two things possible: garnet or carbon. Black or red. If you have a green flaw, it's not a diamond. Except for black or red, if you have anything else,
In the
any other color in the diamond, it's not a diamond.
that is not a diamond. So sometimes आप बोला black or red, sometimes bluish भी आता है.
Now, the body color of the diamond may be bluish. The body color of the diamond is bluish. It's not a flaw in the diamond. Whole diamond का पूरा color ही blue है. That is possible. Blue flaw कभी भी diamond के अंदर में नहीं होता है. If it's got a blue flaw, it's not a diamond. That's clear?
So, diamond will only have
Black or red, or it may be broken or cloud.
ट्यूबलेट का अंदर अगर बड़ा गैप होता है तो वो कैविटी में आएगा.
कहीं पर भी बड़ा गैप जैसे लगता है कि टुकड़ा निकला हुआ है तो वो कैविटी में आता है. कहीं पर भी हो सकता है डायमंड के अंदर में. What is a cloud? A foggy area. What is a fog? 6 o'clock at Victoria in the winters, and maybe if you walk in the Maidan you cannot see it to a distance of 10 feet. Sometimes you cannot see it to a distance of 4 feet. So when you talk about clouds, you're actually meaning less transparency. This window is like a cloud for us because it's blocking the transparency, yeah, and you can only partly light can go out, come in and go out. So that's what a cloud is. A region where the transparency is not optimized. Hazy area in the diamond. Absolutely. Now, when you talk about clouds, for most other things, when you talk about that flaw, you are only talking about the size of the flaw. When you talk about black spot, you only talk about how big or how small it is. It's always going to have the same color. All black spots are the same color. All red spots are the same color. So there's nothing to distinguish between color density. You can distinguish between two black spots. One is bigger, one is smaller. But here, when you talk about a cloud, there are two factors. One is the size, that how much portion of the diamond is affected. That is one. Another is whether it's making it less transparent, translucent, or opaque. One cloud is allowing you to see into the diamond, but not as clearly as you would have. The other cloud is totally, it's like a white layer on the diamond. We cannot see inside from that patch. Then that's a really dense cloud. So write down, when you talk about cloud, you must consider both spread and density. Yeah?
When you talk about cloud,
Yeah, when you talk about clouds, yes, we're talking about spread as also density.
So which is, how do we explain this spread as well?
Spread is the area on the diamond affected by the cloud, in percentage terms maybe, and density is whether it's making it opaque or translucent, or to what extent, or to what degree it is harming the transparency.
So density is?
To what degree the transparency in the affected area is reduced. The degree to which the transparency in the affected area is reduced. In which the, what's next? Included crystal. All those black and red spots that we talk about are included crystals, meaning that they are foreign crystals or foreign substances that were caught inside the diamond in its formative stages and now cannot leave the diamond. Can they leave the diamond now? The diamond was once a liquid when things could come in and go out. It's now a solid, so it's not possible for anything to come in or go out of the diamond. So they're going to stay inside. They're foreign substances, not originally part of the diamond. They're either black spots or red spots. What are these black spots? The extra carbon which was not required to make diamond. So when the diamond was being made, there was some carbon which came into contact with other elements. When we did covalency in chemistry, we studied how some molecules combined with other molecules to form compounds, and there were always some extra molecules which are not required. So that extra carbon is still part of that diamond. It's not gone out of the diamond. It's still there inside. Carbon is originally black, so that's there as black spots.
So all these black spots
Are actually absolutely, and those red spots are garnet. Okay, then
Red spots are
garnet. Pinpoint is a pinpoint size crystal. When it's just so small, it looks like a speck. Then
grain center.
grain center is when you have a collection 3-4 pinpoints together in one facet, maybe, or just very close together in one area of the diamond. Multiple pinpoints together. A गुच्छे में है, एक साथ में.
Tinted natural.
Yeah, tell me.
These pinpoints would be again either carbon or carbon.
Yeah, absolutely. No. They could be white spots, like you said, but then they're not called pinpoints. They're always called feathers. Anything white is always a feather.
So intent natural.
Huh?
Intended natural.
Indented natural. Remember when I said if you have a normal heartbeat that's just rising above, you only have mountains, then it's a natural. And if it's a mountain and valley scenario, if you've got mountains rising above the surface and you also have valleys going down, going inside the surface, then it's affecting the clarity of the diamond inside, right? It's not going to go away. If you have a part of the original rough surface which is going inside the otherwise normal surface, then you have a scenario where there's something inside the diamond. That inside of it is always going to stay like that. So then it affects the inclusion. It affects the clarity of the diamond. It affects the clarity grade to a significant extent. So then you call it indented natural. What's next? A knot. A knot is like a potato which grows from inside. And what is the potato? It's an underground thing. It breaks the surface. So also sometimes you have a flaw which looks like it's starting from inside and it's breaking this, it's reaching the surface. Now nothing grows inside the diamond. It's not a live environment. It just positioned like that when it looks like there's something that's inside and it's reaching the surface. Yeah, coming from beneath. Yeah, absolutely. Now this twining wisp to a grader is just like any other cloud. You had this cloud, twining wisp and cloud are the same. Then what is the difference between twining wisp and cloud? The difference lies in the reason for that cloud being there. A cloud is there because of heat that was exerted on the diamond in its formative stages, and that it was in contact with all that heat and temperature inside the earth. Whereas a twining wisp is because of some atomic distortion, the cubic structure sometimes gets broken, and because of that also you have clouds. So if you have the cloud because of that, then it's called twining wisp. To a grader it does not matter. We wouldn't know. To us, a fog is a fog. For what reason we're not concerned. Just a technical difference between the two, right?
Needle.
Needle is an included crystal which is shaped like a needle. A needle is a crystal shaped like a needle. Yeah.
And how do you see it? So, like, is it very when you're looking at the diamond?
That depends upon the size and the location.
It's like the look is like a needle.
Yeah.
Laser drill hole.
Yeah. Now, it's possible to do, if you have a stone in your gallbladder, they don't cut your stomach.
Laser.
They are peripherally located or they are dispersed. Again, you would have, maybe if you would have these two pinpoints here, bagal bagal mein, they're not dispersed, but they're still peripherally located. So both are VS1. Either they are on the periphery, yeah, or they are dispersed. Even if this would be here, then even if this would be here, it's not on the periphery, it's towards the center, it's still VS1 because they are not together. Why? The only time now this could be VS2 is when they are minor. Let me get this away with, somewhat easy to see, and this is centrally located and concentrated, meaning if both of these would be, or all three things would be here together, it's not yet noticeable, but they are both together, they are centrally located as well as concentrated. If both conditions are met together, then this is VS2.
So I still don't understand one thing. For the topmost diagram VS1, it's minute, difficult to see, and peripheral.
Minor,
Okay,
difficult to see, either peripherally located or dispersed.
So means that like if there are two floors, one is on the spot on one side of the.
I would make it clearer. The only time minor things would be VS2 is when they are both concentrated, that is meaning they're together, and centrally located. All other times they are VS1.
Okay, so for all diagrams, VVS1 or VS1, it is never centrally located. VVS.
No, not don't think like that. Don't think like that. VVS1 is a minute one single feature.
Yeah.
Always.
But then it is not centrally located, right?
VVS1 is not centrally located.
And VVS2
Is centrally
is
located.
centrally located.
Definitely. VS1. No, we don't. That's over.
How will I?
That's over. That's over.
I shouldn't go to
No. Then we come to VS1. When we have to differentiate between VS1 and 2, anything minor that's both central and concentrated is VS2, anything else is VS1. Is that clear? Anything that's both centrally located and concentrated is VS2. You can write this down, it's very important. Yeah? Anything that's both concentrated and centrally located is VS2. Anything else is VS1.
Anything that
Both concentrated.
And centrally located is VS2, else VS1. Right? You can draw these diagrams and write this down. Minor, somewhat easy to see, centrally located plus concentrated.
So what was it? CL plus?
Centrally concentrated, CONC, concentrated. Now the last V also goes. Now this is just plain SI1 and SI2. SI1, SI2. First we had VVS, then we had VS, now we have SI. Now, what is SI? What comes after minor? Noticeable. Right? So if your VVS1 is a toddler, yeah? Not even a toddler. Let's say he's an infant, yeah, newborn baby. Newborn. The VVS2 is a toddler. The VS1 is a baby, a child, बच्चा है, and VS2 जो है बढ़ता बच्चा कॉम्प्लेन बेबी है, हाँ, growing child. So he is like this up to 5 to 8 years, and he is 8 to 12 years. Yeah. And what comes next after this growing child is a teenager. Always noticeable. Always noticeable. So he is 13 to 15. Yeah. This is a teenager. if you have this and you have something here, noticeable? You don't. It's not difficult to see, or even somewhat easy to see. It's immediately, easily seen. Noticeable. Noticeable, easy to see. Even the S goes easy to see. This is SI1. What comes after teenage? Adolescence, 16 to 17.99. Who is an adolescent? Somebody shouting at the top, always the rebel, shouting at the top of his voice, he's an adult. But because he is not yet 18 on this passport, he is not yet an adult. To be an adult in diamonds, that is to be the next grade, which is I1, to be I1, he needs to fill up 1/3 of the diamond.
This is another.
I'm skipping one grade. I'm going to the next. To be I1, 1/3 of the diamond needs to be gone. Here, SI2 shouts. SI2 is like this. SI2 is like this. He shouts at the top of his voice, I'm an adult. Yeah? But he is not. Is he here? Why? Maybe 15%, maybe 20%, but not 33. Is this 33? No. So this is noticeable, very easy to see, which does not in fact tell us anything. They're all GIA definitions which give nothing away. So my definition says not going towards 1/3, and this is going towards 1/3. Is there scope for confusion between VS and SI? Never. Never scope for VVS and VS. You're never going to confuse. Between VS and SI, never going to confuse. There's no scope for confusion. For clarity, you're always within that. Similarly, no scope for confusion between SI1 and SI2. He's a teenager. He is an adolescent. Yeah? Not going towards 1/3. Maybe 5, 7, 8% of the diamond. It's like 15, 20, 25% of the diamond. Right? Now this I here does not, all this while this I was standing for included, very, very slightly included diamond, right? But here in this last category, when the I is singly here without any prefix, here it does not stand for included, it stands for imperfect. Imperfect. Nobody wants to wear these diamonds. They are the borderline between GQDs and IQDs. Gem quality and industrial quality, right? Unless somebody wants a 5-carat diamond and he's got 5,000 rupees to spend and he does not want to compromise on anything else but the clarity, then they're going to start looking for high quality diamonds. This is I1. 1/3 but less than half. Less than half. I2. Half but less than 2/3. Half less than 2/3. Maybe some more. Okay. When I'm drawing this, am I drawing only the surface or do I mean the total volume? This is clear to everybody? When I'm drawing these, I'm not talking only of surface area. When I'm talking about 1/3, I'm talking about half and 2/3. Absolutely. I'm talking about a total thing as one piece. And I'm talking about how much of the total total diamond is affected, not only on the surface. And what is I3? Two-thirds or more. Two-thirds or more. When 2/3 or more of the diamond is filled with inclusions, then it is I3. Now, these are indicators. They're not theory. Yeah. They're not theory. Okay. What is the theory for I1, I2, and I3? For everything else, we did the theory also. So you must do the theory for I1, I2, and I3. Now this I1 is obvious. It's noticeable even to the naked eyes. Noticeable even to the naked eyes. Meaning, even without using a loop, you can look at the diamond and see the flaws. Noticeable even to the naked eyes. The theory goes on to say that either the beauty or the durability of the diamond. Beauty and durability are two different things. Beauty meaning how bad or good looking it is, and durability is the longevity depending directly on the size of the cracks. So beauty or durability is somewhat compromised, meaning to the naked eyes either the beauty or the durability is somewhat compromised. Thoda bahut asar pad raha hai. In the long run, maybe it's not a long lasting diamond, right? Or even maybe to the naked eyes it's noticeable, the flaws are noticeable.
So the equation that you've written, we have to write into different lines?
No, that's okay. That there are two different things definitely. This is this is one condition, this is the second condition, and this is the third condition.
Noticeable.
This is obvious.
Yeah.
Second is noticeable to the naked eyes, NE. And third condition is beauty or durability is somewhat compromised. The S is small. You have a small s there. The beauty or durability is somewhat compromised. In S2, in I2, what is this thing? Both beauty and durability are somewhat compromised. Okay. It could also be that either beauty or durability is seriously compromised. S bada. Either beauty or durability is seriously compromised. This is done. And I3
तो seriously क्या है?
meaning गहरा असर पड़ रहा है, immediate danger है. And I3 is when both are seriously compromised. This all theory does not make sense to us like that. Yeah, so that 1/3, 2/3 thing is this, just to remember.
So I think
Both beauty and durability are seriously compromised. Now what happens when you have a fight between this rule and this rule? For example, you have a diamond and you have this black spot. Minute, minor, noticeable, obvious. But not 1/3.
अबे पूछने वाला था.
Not 1/3. So, then going by that rule, you would call this SI2. Maybe even SI2, 15-20% SI2. But then, this is not theory. That 1/3 rule is not the theory. The 1/3 rule is not the theory. The theory is noticeable even to the naked eyes. Is it fulfilling that criterion?
Yeah.
It is. Therefore, this is I1.
मतलब अगर ब्लैक स्पॉट इतना सा भी है 10% भी कवर
एक 10 कैरेट का डायमंड है, एक कैरेट का ही डायमंड है, और ये एक ब्लैक स्पॉट है.
और नेकेड आई में
यहाँ पर I don't know if I told you about it. People, what would you call it? Minute, minor, noticeable, obvious. A pinpoint here. VVS2. A pinpoint here. We said it's VVS2, remember? But this diamond is a huge diamond. It's a 1 carat diamond. You can see it like that with the naked eyes. Meaning I1.
The size of the difference.
Noticeable to the naked eyes. If it's noticeable to anything that's noticeable to the naked eyes is I1. Before I1, you cannot have anything noticeable to the naked eyes.
So basically, I1 may
A buyer would not buy it at VVS2, and a seller would not sell it for I1.
Yeah.
The technical grading is this. But in the market, this would fetch you a price for VS2 or max for SI1. So now what happens is the buyer tries to sell it for VS2. The seller tries to sell it for VS2. The buyer tries to buy it for SI1. And then they bargain, and then whoever is stronger at bargaining, right? One exception, two exceptions.
So I just wanted to understand one thing, that in case of I1, I2 and I3, it is always noticeable to the naked eye.
Always. But you always follow that 1/3 wala rule. Always. There are just 4 exceptions, and I am giving you all those 4 exceptions here. Only 4 cases where those rules are not applicable. Case 1, case 2, case 3.
At center, but noticeable to the
Naked eyes in a solitary diamond. इसकी अलग अलग लैब्स अलग अलग ग्रेड्स देती हैं.
so what
Technically I1 technically I1, yeah, if you take the GIA model, then it's I1. You never send this stone to GIA as a dealer for a certificate. You send it to a lab which is dealer friendly, so you get a VS2 certificate for it. You get a VS2 for it.
you may also get a VS2.
You may get from a dealer friendly lab, you get a VS2 certificate for this stone. So anytime you have this stone. Now, third exception, diamond, cracks that's like this, one razor thin, razor thin thing. If you look at the table, it's like this. What GIA does, or any other lab will do, is it will only show this. It won't show this. So the client thinks there's a line here. They'll just probably, even this, maybe it's not touching the surface. Only this is touching the surface, and this is like this. Yeah. So they're only showing this line there. So the client thinks this is just one line. They give the right grade. For the right grade here is I2, because the beauty is not so much compromised. When either the beauty or the durability is seriously compromised, either is the beauty seriously compromised, is the durability seriously compromised here? Yeah. So this is I2. So they are only showing, when you look at it up front, you're only seeing that one line there. So what do? Graded as I2, plotted as this diagram here.
But they are only showing.
Plotted as this diagram here.
The one with a small thing on the ground.
Right. Because that is the only top. The top is the only thing that's seen like that from the crown.
How do we write it?
You don't need to. Just take care that you call this stone I2 always. Yeah, and it shows just how misleading some plotting diagrams can be. Right? There's just one more exception, like I said.
When we are drawing it,
When you are drawing it, it is ideal to draw an in-profile diagram like that.
Because on the paper we have the ground view, so we'll also draw it like this only.
Right, absolutely. This is how it is drawn, but this is sometimes it works against the client. It works in the dealer's favor.
That is right.
Right.
For us,
You will do it like this.
we'll also just draw a simple line.
Absolutely. Because you need to have an in-profile diagram,
So we'll draw
and a lab report does not carry an in-profile diagram.
So we'll draw the full in-profile diagram and show it.
You could do that.
That is
You could do that, but in a report you will never find it.
If you do that, how will you sell
Right.
it?
Right. Yeah, of course you can do it. You should. Here there is no reason why you should not. Yeah, absolutely. In case it is a clarity setting characteristic. Only in case you don't do that for everything. Only in case it's a clarity setting characteristic, then you do this in profile diagram. Okay. Now, one more exception. There is this diamond and it's got these pinpoints. What do?
If they're on the surface, I polish it again and
Not everything is that you see is inside. So you forget about that. What grade is this? Minute, minor, noticeable, obvious. Pinpoints, which is not noticeable so much to the naked eyes, and it says a huge diamond.
Then minor.
Noticeable, easy to see. SI,
1.
Okay.
So it will be 1 because it is not centrally
No,
located
it
and not
SI 1 and 2 के बीच में, that's never between centrally and periphery. It's always between going towards 1/3 or not going towards 1/3. No, never. This is easy to see. Noticeable, easy to see.
Scattered on the full diamond.
SI1, unless it's huge, unless you are never able to see one piece of the diamond without that black spot, then maybe it's SI2, but mostly it's going to be SI1. If there's lots of vacant space, then maybe SI1, but there is very little vacant space between these spots, then SI2. If there's 70% of it, tick on the surface, then maybe SI2. Because anyways, they don't have depth. We must remember that when we talk about it, we must talk about the total volume of the diamond, and not be influenced by just the surface, isn't it? So in most cases, this will be SI1. Yeah. Now, same thing. You may have a case where there is just one black spot above the culet. Above the culet. Now, this position is like 10 रुपए का चोर जो बिना बेचारा पकड़ा जाता है ना. It's like that because when you look at it from the table, this black spot here gives you so many reflections, like a garland here at the table edge. So then, are we to draw it like this? No, we don't draw the in-profile diagram. We draw it like what we see it. We draw it like what we see it. And we grade it like we see it. And we grade it like we see it. You understand what I mean? It does not matter whether they are or they are not so many black spots in the diamond. Just matters as to how many you can see. So this would still be SI1, isn't it? This would still be SI1? No, it won't be SI1. Spots ज़्यादा है, noticeable है. Not going towards 1/3, SI1. It's very, when you sit down and start grading, we're done with this. Let me just do a 1-minute recap. Yeah, so nothing gets jumbled up in our minds. When we look at a diamond, we only look at it from the crown. Clear? If you can see something immediately, that's not minute. You can see something that's not a pinpoint and you can see it immediately. Then this is at least noticeable. If it's not going towards 1/3, this is SI1. If it's going towards 1/3, this is SI2. If it's 1/3 but less than half, you keep seeing that 1/3 less than half is I1, half less than 2/3 is I2, and 2/3 or more is I3. Okay. Now, if it's not visible immediately, it's taking time to find. Yeah. If it's both centrally located and concentrated, it's VS2, or else it's VS1. And there's just one feature. Then based on whether it's removable or not removable, it's VS2 or VS1, isn't it? So questions you ask yourself is, you ask always when you look at a diamond, ask yourself 2 questions. Question 1, sum total effect is minute, minor, noticeable or obvious. If it's minute, removable or not removable. If it's minor, is it concentrated, centrally located or not? If it's SI, if it's noticeable, then going towards 1/3, not going towards 1/3. And if it's I, 1/3 less than half, half less than 2/3, 2/3 or more. 1 minute, you have your answer. Always.
1 or 2 whatever, when it is noticeable through 10x only, na? Usme it is not noticeable through naked. It's only for I.
Right. Absolutely. Okay? So that is, now in the next class, before you do practicals, you will see some slides. So when you see those slides, you judge immediately by looking at the photograph whether this is VS2, VS1, what is this. So it even trains your eyes even more before you look at the diamond. And when you start seeing diamonds, clarity is child's play. Just remember to grade first, plot next. Because after plotting, the diagram looks dirty. And then you start grading it, lower. You don't do that. You grade first, you plot next. right? And go by your first instincts. First instincts, mostly right. After first five stones, take some time, then okay.